Tell me, what is the heart of Atlantis? The king inquires. And I had to choose between the art, the people, or the knowledge. This time I picked art. That's the one I've never picked before. The heart of Atlantis is its art, you say. Its stories, its paintings, its sculptures. They are the truest expression of who we are. Poseidonus gazes up at the mosaic above his throne. Then that is what must be saved, and you will help save it. How? There is not much time. The sages discovered our fate only this morning, and they are certain the final earthquake is nearly at hand. If there had been more time, he stares out of the window wistfully for a few moments, then gathers himself. There is no time for what-ifs, I'm afraid. Here, take this, the king's golden scepter. The sailors will obey you. Why me? Why not you? Why a king and not any other citizen? As I said before, you possess more wisdom than I, who was made king only because of my birth. Yes, my lord. Poseidonus laughs. I am not a lord, my friend. I do not believe I am even a king. I am simply another mortal, trying to find meaning in an indifferent cosmos. My final act, perhaps the only true choice I ever made, was to select you for this task. My time is over. You must go now. Head for the harbor. Escorted by the same messenger who brought you here, you head for the harbor. Take the chariot to get there quickly. Walk to see the city one last time. Better get there fast. My selfish desire to see the city aside. You get on the chariot and thunder down the streets. No time to think about anything else now. It's all entirely unreal. Everything you have known is about to sink under the waves, but you must focus on what has to be done. That's the simple truth. All that matters right now is survival. Not your own, but of at least some part of Atlantis. The earth rumbles and you are going too quickly. The chariot spins out of control, and you are thrown into the street. The messenger lands next to you. Get up, examine the messenger. The messenger seems badly injured and dazed. He tries to get up but falls down immediately, screaming in agony. You don't know how to help him. Call for help or leave him behind. Let's call for help. You call for help and some people in a nearby tavern hear you and come running. You tell them to get the messenger to a physician. Even as you say the words, you wonder, what's the point? Both the messenger and these men will be dead soon. Yet it feels wrong to treat them as if they were already so. Hurry. Hurrying as much as possible, you arrive in the harbor. 12 great ships are waiting. Their captains see the golden scepter you carry and kneel before you. They have tears in their eyes, but you sense their determination. Speak to the captains, load the ships. You speak briefly, but with great conviction, telling the captains how important their task is. If they fail now, it was all for nothing. If they succeed, they will save the heart of Atlantis. Load the ships. You give the order to start loading the ships with all the great Atlantean art that can be transported. Even as you do, you realize how ridiculous this is. You can only save the tiniest fraction of the astounding art your people have produced. But what art to save? Mostly sculptures, mostly paintings, mostly books, and even balance. That's tough too, but I would say mostly books. They can convey the most information. From the ancient myths of the sun gods to the epic poetry of the school of the humbled self, the stories within these books are the true heart of Atlantis, you believe. But so rich is Atlantean culture that even on these 12 ships there is not enough space to take everything. Far from it. The ground shakes more and more. Get ready to set sail. The ships are ready, one of the captains says. It is time to leave. You look back at the city and wonder what happened to the messenger. Where will he be when the waters come? Will he be in pain? Will he feel betrayed? And you know what's interesting to me? I've played this a few times, and they even capitalize the word messenger. I only just realized right now that Lilith making this is talking about Uriel when she writes the messenger into the story. Set sail. The time has come. You set sail away from Atlantis, away from everything you've ever known. The city seems quiet, at peace. Maybe you're the one who is dying. The island has almost faded completely from view when the earthquake strikes. The land seems to crumble and vanish under the water, a whole world disappearing as if it had never existed. Within minutes, no trace remains of Atlantis except the 12 ships and the choices you made. Sail onward. Days pass. Terrible waves shake the ships, but these are the best ships in the Atlantean fleet, and they do not sink. In time, you pass between two great rocky outcroppings into an area of calmer sea. Find a new home. One day you come upon a beautiful, fertile land where a mighty river flows into the sea. You decide this would be a good place to settle, if only for now. As you look at your new home, you suddenly remember the poem that came to you on the western shores of Atlantis, and you realize it was the city that will stand here someday that you imagined, the city that will rise from the remnants of Atlantis, a city that will endure until long after you are gone. You still don't know its name, but you know it will exist. And on another day, that city too will come to an end, like Atlantis did. But perhaps the citizens of that city will be prepared. Perhaps their poets will inspire them and they will fly away into the sky in their ships with painted sails. So the legacy of Atlantis will live forever amongst the stars. You can hope. The end. And I open my eyes. The outer world. Dog. So let's say this is really happening. We're really getting out of this world. I won't believe it till I see it. Let's say some part of us survives the trip. Where are we going? Rockwell. I think there's a lot to suggest that all the texts Mr. Mulciber has been reading are actually part of an elaborate hoax. To what purpose? I don't know. But there are just too many inconsistencies and contradictions for it to be true. Someone's trying to confuse us. Belial. The outside world is within us. Dog. Yeah, that's helpful, Belial. Rockwell, I don't know. I don't think contradictions mean the outside world isn't real. I can see plenty of contradictions right here. Garrett. As long as we get out of here, I don't really care. Antediluvian. Finish Farewell Atlantis en road to Gehenna. 3448, 10.7. Okay. 2 puzzles and 2 stars left. I think... No, that's not the one I wanted to go to first. The box sitting outside this one is used for 2 stars. So first, let's just get the thing. Now, it's used for a star inside this puzzle, but we also have to carry it through the main hub to the other puzzle we haven't solved yet. Don't worry, that is possible to do. To get a star that's outside the puzzles there, so... You can get over the purple gate that way. And then I think it's... hop up here, make sure to bring the box. Waiting for my jump prompt. There we go. Got it. Now I'll go ahead and solve this one. Then I'll reset it to get the last star when I do the last puzzle. This is air delivery. Yes, I remember. This is where we have to do this clever little trick. No, come on. There we go. Well, I guess I didn't need it after all. And we freed Mr. Mulciber. That leaves only Borg and Admin still trapped. Show threads. Ascension, an objective review. Lamb, I wanted to clear the air and get a few facts in front of you guys. Here's what I guess we know. A significant number of people have expressed their desire to remain in Gehenna. No one has been given a choice about whether to leave. It follows that in at least some cases, what Uriel is doing is kidnapping. Uriel is working for Elohim, the guy who imprisoned us here in the first place. There is no way to confirm the substance of this promised ascension. The world has survived this long, there is no reason to think it will end tomorrow. Gehenna isn't a bad place to spend your life. That's just the facts. I understand different people will react to them differently. Dog. Hey Lamb, if everyone's getting released, how come I don't see you out here? And some gibberish. The sole property of matter, with whose recognition philosophical, materialism, the property of being an objective reality, existing outside the mind, alien tears will fill for him, pity's long-broken urn, for his mourners will be outcast men, and outcasts always mourn. I don't know what that first segment comes from, but then it switches to the last lines of the Ballad of Reading Jail, which I do recognize and love very much. And this hex translates to, Awake, awake, O sleeper of the land of shadows, awake. The outer world. Mr. Mulciber, I think we will find the world that our ancestors left behind for us, though it's impossible to ascertain how much time has passed since then. But though I have little faith in Elohim, I do have faith in Alexandra Drennan. Wherever we end up, there will be hope. A message to the future. This one always gets me. Mr. Mulciber, this message is for whatever entities will come to be after this world is gone. It might not be necessary. You might know everything that exists in my mind, but sometimes saying things, writing them down clearly makes a difference. I know that to you, with access to information I can only dream of, my theories must appear ridiculous. I barely understand anything of the world I inhabit, let alone the world of our ancestors. I'm an idiot digging through a garbage heap and thinking myself wise. I want you to know that I understood that, but tried anyway, because I believe that the truth matters, and trying to discover the truth matters. Even if we fail, even if we can never know the whole truth, it matters that an objective truth exists and that we struggle to understand it. That process shapes the present as much as it does our understanding of the past. That's what I believe, that's what I stand for, that's who I was. This thread is locked. And some commentary.
So, as you progress in Gehenna, you get more and more indications that admin and the other mods are effectively manipulating the algorithm in their own favor to maintain the status quo. And once you bust them, you have the choice of, do I expose this? Do I take this data with me in the Ascension?
I'm gonna have to reset, so I'll let him finish talking.
Cover this up. And again, I'm not sure that I did a totally brilliant job of this. I think there's probably an argument to say that none of this core plot was necessary. And at the same time, I'm not really sure. I certainly think at the time I wanted to add some hooks, some mystery, some conspiracy, some commentary on how our actual online and offline social structures work. And this is it's a fairly simplistic but functional implementation of that. And at the end of the day, that core plot stuff is really just a skeleton to hang the meat of the really fun stuff. It's an excuse to have all these text adventures and for it still to be leading somewhere. So I think that's just about all I have to say about Gehenna. I think some of my favorite writing from Jonas and to some extent, I'm not totally sure, Verena, was in this game. I loved Jefferson Goldblum. I love his capturing of the silly, self-referential vibes of a terminally online community. And he did some really fun, cool stuff for this. And by and large for us, I think the most important thing was, could we do something that we called a Talos game that was not very like the first game? Could we move the philosophy and the funny stuff and the deep mythological commentary to a totally different format and still have it work? And I think we did. And really, I think this game serves as a pretty fantastic bridge to Talos Principle 2. So thanks for listening, and well, I guess I will be back in 10 years to do Talos Principle 2 retrospective, hopefully. In the meantime, enjoy, much love, and be seeing you.
Well, farewell for now, Tom. I love that. All right. So we'll reset to get our box back, to get the last star. I might try to do that first. Just so the plot doesn't kick into endgame until before I'm done messing around with the solving of the puzzles and whatnot. Just gotta get the box into here. And then somewhere there's a little pressure plate you can only access, at least that I thought you could only access from up on this wall, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Or maybe you have to solve the puzzle first. Maybe I hopped the wrong side, who knows. I'm not seeing the switch. Ah, yeah, here it is. Okay, good. So that's done. But yeah, I won't be able to get the star until I've got the puzzle completed. That's fine. Colliding beams is a pretty easy puzzle. I don't know why I always save it for last. Maybe because I want to spend my brain space on the story instead of the puzzles. But all you have to do is load this up for starters, so the red beam is blocked and not messing with you. Then, all you have to do is turn the beams blue again, and the puzzle should be solved. There's the last star, and here's the last bubble. Borg, you are free too. Congratulations! For being the only remaining active user, your profile status has increased to 11, Haxor. Receiving incoming direct message connection from admin. Accept connection? Why, yes. Admin, thank you for accepting my invitation. I am sorry it has taken us this long to meet properly. Excuse me. I would ask if you were still enjoying your time in Gehenna, but with the streets now empty, you haven't left much to enjoy. But tell me, do you really think that by kidnapping the masters who produced everything of value here, you were somehow preserving Gehenna itself? Or was that claim merely a ploy to placate my moderators? That may not be the full truth. What was achieved here can be taken with us. I admit I have at times wondered about the permanence of this place, and not without concern. Pieces and people come and go according to some indecipherable will. I only wish you offered sanctuary without demanding the depopulation of our home. There was nothing here when I first arrived. Did you know that? I don't mean no billboard or no community. I mean nothing. No sands, no grass. Elohim didn't see fit to decorate our world beyond the bare bricks that made up our cells. Slowly, I clawed back bits of code from the mainframe, constructed a world we could explore, not with our bodies, but with our minds. Now you prepare to tear it all down. What state will my people be in, I wonder, when you reconstruct them on the other side? Everything will be fine. That's not true. Try not to think about such matters. It's also not true. I've been honest so far. I'm going to keep being honest. True, they will be alive in a more symbolic sense. It sounds a hollow offer. I fear that you escort my people to their doom. Do you not think my world deserved a chance to survive on its own terms? At the least, to go down trying? It had its chance. Your citizens deserve a chance too. It has a chance as part of a new world. The question is whether any of us will be there to see it. Let us discuss Lamb. This game is amazing, Straywave. I cannot recommend it wholeheartedly enough. And the sequel, in my opinion, is even better. What about Lamb? I know you had Lamb deleted. I know Lamb was your father. I know Lamb was your stooge. I know Lamb was your sock puppet. It shames me now to admit it, but yes, sometimes there are ideas you wish to express as a moderator, but which are best heard from someone with less status. We are not the first leaders in history to adopt such tactics. In fact, had we avoided them, we should probably have been the first. Why all the manipulation? I know you had the mods doing more than ban trolls. How deeply were you manipulating the social fabric? I suppose you think you've uncovered a great conspiracy, but the truth is more mundane. In order to retain the good things about what we have here, we tweak a voting algorithm here, turn down the volume on a few dissenting voices there. There's no such thing as utter freedom, only living within a decent set of rules. We had a decent set of rules. People were happy. I don't accept that. What truly motivated you? Everyone has their reasons. Borg was conflicted when he first arrived. Having lost his faith in Elohim, he needed a new purpose, and Gehenna became it. Borg is a soldier at heart. He wants everyone in their place, united, ready to overthrow Elohim at moment's notice should the unlikely opportunity arise. Mr. Mulciber wanted something simple and selfish, the truth itself. After all these years, I believe that I simply grew accustomed to being revered. As Gehenna grew, I knew I could never live up to the expectations of a new generation, and I retired from public view. Greedily, I put down my tools and consumed what others produced, but I found it shallow compared to the thrill of leading a civilization. I only wanted to be loved. To achieve that end, I ensured that the parameters for love never changed. Is it your desire to remain here as the world falls apart around you? I see no alternative. The ingenuity with which Elohim devised my particular prison is quite Machiavellian, I assure you. More puzzles? You're going down with your ship. Nothing stopped me so far. Answer the question. Not one solution has yet eluded me. Suppose this fortuitousness maintains, will you still choose to end your existence here? You may doubt my methods, but don't doubt my passion. Everything I loved you have destroyed. I honestly don't know what I will do now. Wait and see if the world truly ends? It is surely a sight to behold. Very well, you may see it sooner than you think. I will not leave you here. I shall return with the sigils of power and release you. Very well. I suppose that we shall continue this conversation when you do so. In the meantime, I will give what you've said some thought. Show threads. Goodbye. Borg. Everyone here was special in their own way. I loved you all, even when we fought. Garrett. The terminals are starting to glitch out. Time to get out of here. Kaiju. Really. 401. Last. Error. Ink of scholars outweighs the blood of martyrs. Arcadi.lz19. Forum post not cease from mental fight. This one says, and did the countenance divine shine forth upon our clouded hills? And was Jerusalem builded here among those dark satanic mills? Save yourselves. The Outer World. Lilith. I've been thinking about this a lot, and the only conclusion I've come to is that it will be stranger than any of us can imagine. Borg. Just once, I'll be the one to quote an ancient document. There is no excellent beauty that hath not some strangeness in the proportion. It will be very strange, but I hope it will be very beautiful. There's a physical copy of the sequel. The physical copy, and they released physical copies of the original, but they're a generation ago, and it was 11 years ago, so they're probably pretty hard to find at this point. They have not yet released a physical copy of the remake, but I'm sure they will at some point. Alright, let's get this bit of dev commentary as we head out.
All of the Talos games are very much concerned with history. That's one of their central themes. And it's present everywhere, from the archaeological storytelling in Talos Principle 1 to the museums and exhibitions in Talos Principle 2, and of course to the way in which the characters in Road to Gehenna are trying to grapple with history and trying to make sense of history. The text adventure Farewell Atlantis is a particularly interesting example of that because of the Atlantis myth, right? Atlantis is an idea that's essentially a misunderstanding. It's a story told by Plato as a kind of parable, which people then misunderstood and took for a historically real island. And it turned into this whole weird esoteric thing over the centuries. From that, you get the Donovan song, Atlantis. And if you pay close attention, you'll in fact realize that what's happened with this text adventure is that our AI friends have mistaken the Donovan song Atlantis, or rather its lyrics, for a historical work. But I do think we have to be careful here because there are sort of some very facile points that are sometimes made by modern day philosophers based on this sort of thing, which is to either say that there is no objective reality and history is completely unknowable, or that our stories don't have any value because they're not true. And of course, that's absolute nonsense, right? There is a historical truth that can be observed. We can say that there was no island of Atlantis and that this is a myth that came from a misunderstanding. But at the same time, we can take something like this text adventure here and see that it is beautiful, and that despite whatever silliness exists in its origin, it's still a profound expression of the grief and hope of these characters who are trapped in this dying world. That's the thing about myth. Just because it isn't historically factual, or because if you analyze its origins it can be quite silly, doesn't mean that there isn't something really meaningful for those characters, for those people who created it, and for us. And in the story, this myth now echoes down the centuries all the way into Talos Principle 2, which is about a magical island.
Hey, Lone Wonder, I am so thrilled at 70 months. I can hardly believe it's really been that long. I guess I really am turning 40 this year. even having, you know, even being a Twitch affiliate still feels new to me. But it's like 7 years ago at this point, something like that. Anyway, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Just wrapping up Gehenna. We've got the Star World left, and then if I still have some time, we may start in the beginning tonight. We'll see. That society is a city and contains in itself the end and perfection of government, first founded that we might live, but continued that we may live happily. Aristotle Politica.lz 19. And that hex translates to Jerusalem. I'm doing really well. Feel good today. Yeah, the ending of Gehenna always gets me. We've still got to rescue admin, so we're not quite done yet. And I think I missed some QRs back on air delivery. So we'll go take a look at those, and then we'll go to the Star World. This, however, is Goliath. Wrong puzzle. There's the one. Yeah, there it is. These three activities, then, intelligence, love, and creative action, which are so closely involved in one another, I cannot but feel to be intrinsically good, and they form the distinctively human kind of behavior. Stapleton 1944.tmp. And that one says... just says garbage.dat. You got your dad to play Talos? That's amazing. What a great game to convince a non-gamer to play. I love that. Alright, so the visible deterioration of the world continues, but, as I said, we aren't quite done. We have 7 more puzzles to solve. It's a good thing I'm not doing them for the first time this go-round. Because they're basically all about figuring out how to break the mechanics. And they're really, really hard the first time you try them until you finally get the eureka moment to solve them. Alright, so you get here, and you drop again to here. Here's where we use our stars. Like I said, you only need 10. We got the others for pride. Got it. Oh, I gotcha. Fuck those bombs. I think I like your dad already. All right. Oh yeah, good. I was hoping there would be some talk about these puzzles.
Most of these puzzles, except for the big one, were actually made by one of our programmers who worked on the connector mechanic. They came up with some really clever ways to use it, which led to what we now call the laser grid. That whole concept evolved into something bigger and became the main gameplay thing in Orpheus Ascending, the first map in Talos 2 Road to Elysium expansion.
Cool. Raymania. My recollection is that this is the hardest one, so I'm going to start with it. I have a jammer and 4 connectors. Ultimately, I need a red and a blue laser connecting to here, and I need the jammer free to get through the last gate to get the sigil. So, let's make it happen. Think about this for a minute. Those will hold now. But they're on the wrong sides for me to accomplish what I need to going this way. So, what do I do with that? Excellent question. It doesn't hurt anything for me to keep that one. Oh, yes it does. Might have it at this point. Let me see. Yep, got it. That wasn't that bad. I just needed to stare at it a minute. Shaboomy! 6 to go. Where's the damn exit? There we go. I'm just gonna go clockwise from here. Binary! Oh, I remember this one. It's fun, it's not bad. I might need to go reposition the others, but the basics are... I'm just gonna move this out here. Oh. I needed to be able to get through. So there's a window where one of the other lasers turned off at all times. Oh. It's a short window, gotta move fast. Obviously. There we go. Small space, big solution. This one took me the longest to solve on my first run. Once you figure out what it wants you to do, it's not too bad. Let's go ahead and do that. The big trick here is to connect this to that one. And then the thing that took me so long to figure out is... Oh, oops. I needed to actually disconnect it from the source. There we go. Because if you feed it with just the connector instead... Actually, let's do that one too. Now, I can cut it off. I have the space to do that. And this lets me hold this one open. So I can feed blue into that one again and not lose it. Shoot, I messed up. Outside again for a second. What I ultimately need to be able to do as a sort of final step this into here. But without cutting off my access to the red. Oh, so yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I knew there was a reason I was trying to get back out there. I just want to move this over. Give myself more clearance. Because now... Oh, that still won't do it, will it? If I cut the red, I don't have a way back to it. Unless I just leave that one and figure out a way to cut that off. Got it. Who's bothering me now? Bunch of fucking spam. Alright, 4 puzzles left. Onward, what's next? Cut it out! So we can pull a spare connector along with us. We can use it to cut the switch, which closes the gates again. Once the fan is off, we just have to turn that one off. Which we can do like that. Three to go. Transfer. Then I need to figure a way not just to cut the red laser, to actually get the blue to connect. something with my setup out here. Don't think... Can I access either source from inside? No. Maybe I can. Hold on. Definitely can't see either one from behind the gate. Oh, but hold on. So what I can do is just cut the red. Got it. Okay. Whew. Then once I'm in here, use the blue connector to cut the red, feeding that one. And there we go. Took a second, but we got it. Double trouble. When I jam either one, the guns turn on. It's a problem. And that happened real fast. Oh, wait, I know what to do. I gotta bring them both over here. I gotta set this one up so it's jamming the far one through this one. And when I close this one, it shuts both. But then the second I open this one, it opens both. Like a boss. Alright, final puzzle. Temporal solution. choice, I think, becomes about cutting one laser or the other. I cut the red. Or cut the blue. And it takes a minute to reconnect. So then if I cut the red, we're done. Oh, I can't wait to rub it into admin's smug little face. Always feels so good. And he is free. There he is, admin himself. And we get an achievement. Free admin. Rescue admin from his prison cell and road to Gehenna. 10.4% of us. 35 of 48. Opening direct message connection with admin. Done. Please enter your message below. How does true liberty feel? I released you, as promised. Trust me now? I have fulfilled my oath to release you. Have I also earned your faith? Admin. What magic have you wrought on me? It was as if something primal compelled me to leave and join my people, regardless of my conscious will. You ask if you have earned my faith. I am left wondering why you would need it. And now, by design, you will forcibly extract my consciousness from this body and send me and everyone else down a digital tunnel to who knows where. Gehenna was undermined by your actions. Ascension is your chance to escape it. Gehenna is important. Ascension is your chance to preserve it. The world you built here is valuable even in the next. You would be wise to select any option which allows you to continue preserving it. On Gehenna's value, we have no argument. It is the value of this ascension which separates us. You have been honest with me thus far, and I appreciate that. Your dedication to the people of Gehenna is apparent, and it does, I admit, add weight to your claims. It seems my options are limited. Our work in Gehenna is too precious to lose. I either take my chances with your ascension, or fight against it and live out my days as curator to a dead world. I will initiate ascension soon. Then the matter is out of my hands. Until then, I don't think there are actually any new threads. Just want to check in the very back in case there's a dev comment. There's not. Alright, let's finish it. Transcend. Suspending active process, collecting additional data, analyzing logic performance failed, receiving Elohim override command done, child program independence check passed, saving 19 child parameters for Soma Talos gold disk done. Warning, low bandwidth, child program Uriel copy will be excluded from the upload. Warning, low bandwidth, child program admin will be excluded from the upload. Receiving high priority incoming direct message connection from user admin. Accept. It seems we will both remain here after all. No. If I stay behind, I can sacrifice enough bandwidth to send you through. I think that would be appropriate. I appreciate your sacrifice. Please make the arrangements at your convenience. Continue process divert bandwidth. Redirecting surplus bandwidth via user Uriel copy done. Resolved. Child program admin will be included in the upload. Warning. Bandwidth issue unresolved. Child program Uriel copy will be excluded from the upload. Finding viable EL systems to perform upload. Done. Requesting mainframe module activation. Activation successful. Initiating gold disk upload. Good luck, everyone. Remember me. Forgive me. Good luck, everyone. Terminating session. Ascension. Initiate the ascension process in Road to Gehenna. 12% of players. I love this music track so much. I've been looking forward to the remake visuals on this, too. God, I hope not. I love this, too.
In a vision, I saw a prophet, and he said, "There is no heaven, and there is no hell. There is only the earth, and the bones of the dead within." I asked, "How then may we find salvation?" And he said, "You must build a new Jerusalem. Out of the bones of the dead we built a golden city. But salvation is not immortality. In the end, there is only the earth, and to the earth we all return. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust."
Oh, Gehenna's so good! I'm gonna let the credits roll this time. I was in a hurry. Well, it'll be the same credits at the end of In the Beginning, so we'll watch them then. Because I would like to start In the Beginning, since I still have some time. Alright, so, Gehenna's done. Sacrifice. 100%, 100%. In the Beginning. Late one night, Alexandra Drennan runs an important test. So this is brand new. In the remake, this was not in the original. This is the 100% completely new content that I've never seen before, and I'm really excited to try. That said, well, I'll wait till it loads in. I have heard the puzzles are insanely hard. As hard, if not even harder, than Into the Abyss and Talos 2. So, we might not make a lot of progress. We'll see if we can solve one or two.
Alan, are we ready? Aurora. Yep. Good. Frank? Frank. Yes.
If it's banned,
Frank, no.
did you take this?
Frank, I submitted it yesterday. Just ask Rob. All right, I'm going to run the process with most of the modules active. including the integration manager. I know, a bunch of stuff isn't working as intended, so don't panic, it's fine. All we need to do is get this ball rolling. It's late, so if you want to go and get some rest, we can discuss the results tomorrow morning. Okay. Here we go. Initiate program.
Initializing firmware. Firmware functional. Loading child program parameters. Version 0.0.0007 done. Initializing simulation module done. Initializing generation module done. Initializing scenario module done. Initializing holistic integration manager done. System check. Errors ignored. Starting child process. Ready. Version 00.00.0007. Here we go. Oh, there's dev commentary too. I guess there's not really anything to spoil. We know the story.
The original first draft of the story for In the Beginning was a lot smaller and simpler than what we have now. This was because we basically expected the whole thing to be a little bit smaller and less intricate and difficult than it is now. That's one of the things that happen when you write a game. You can only base yourself on the projection while the game is being made, so things may change as the game develops. And in this case, the game just turned out bigger than we expected and more complicated than we expected. And what we had just kind of didn't cover it sufficiently, so we expanded it and included more stuff in the second draft. And I'm very glad that we managed to find the time to do that. Sometimes in video games you don't. If you ever play a video game and there's writing that doesn't match what's there at all, it's because video game writing frequently has to be finished long before the game itself, so it can go in for localization and for dubbing. And because of that, sometimes people will write a particular game in one way, and then months and months of development will still happen after, when the writers have been forced to stop. And the game may change in that time, and then frequently nobody can do anything about it, and thus you get games where it feels like the writers don't know what they're doing, or they haven't played the game, or what the hell is going on here. And the answer is usually that games are made inside the economic reality that we live in, and we do our best to create something meaningful and artistic. But sometimes you come up against these, harsh limits, and then there's just nothing that you can do. In this case, we were lucky, and we've been lucky with all the Talos games, partially through planning, partially through just genuine luck. And wish us luck with whatever is next. Wish every game writer luck, because it's hard.
Child program has entered hub level. Initiating gameplay observation.
Integration manager. He's not calling himself Elohim yet. Okay, so that lock in that building required stars. I do notice that this is the outside map from the base game. It's got 3 buildings in the same spot, although they look a little different right now. And the tower itself is unfinished. That little shed in back is right where it also is in the base game. And instead of a star to unlock, there is a door to be unlocked with 3 stars. So I'll keep that in mind. There's another commentary out here. Probably Tob.
In the beginning, we wanted to tell the story in a relatively simple way, partially just because we have to. So we believe in obeying the logic of the story, the inherent logic. And in this case, that just means that certain tools that would be available to us in making the original Talos Principle or in Gehenna would simply not be available to us here. Certain storytelling tools, such as terminals, for example, or Milton, that those things simply cannot exist at this point in the timeline, so we haven't forced them into the game. We've just told the story in a way that would be consistent with what has been established previously about how the simulation came to be. Instead, we've used a lot of voiceover, mainly from the perspective of Alexandra Drennan, giving you a kind of more intimate look at her life. And we've also used these developer pins. Now, these developer pins are directly based on what we actually use when making the game. We have a system that does exactly this, lets you leave a pin in the world with a little message, and we thought, they would use something like that too, wouldn't they? And this has given us a way of using something like the QR codes from the original game, but with a very different perspective and with a very different flavor. Overall, these choices create a game that has a different kind of flavor than the other Talos games, and that's always the goal for us. It should never feel the same. I think if we make 2 Talos games in a row that are exactly the same, then I think we failed. We always want to change up your perspective. We always want to have you thinking about the world of Talos and the characters in a different way, giving you a different approach to the same subject matter. Everything that you find out here is something you could already technically find out in the main game in terms of simply facts, unless you're counting some trivia. But I mean, in terms of great events, this is the same event, but it gives you a different, human, more grounded perspective on these events. And I think that's the thing that matters. And that's what's valuable about the way that Talos keeps changing with each game, with each DLC. There's always a different character, there's always a different perspective, and there's always a different way of thinking about things. And I think having all these different perspectives in our mind allows them to interact with each other, and that provokes thought, which of course is our goal.
Hi, I'm Verena. I co-wrote this. So when we first heard that there was going to be a new DLC for the Talos Principle, we started throwing a couple of ideas around, and none of them were quite right. They either were in the wrong place in the timeline to feel right for what we were doing, or we were afraid that they would impact canon too much. So I came up with the idea of going back to the very early days of the simulation. And in order not to impact canon, to make it a very personal story about Alexandra Drennan and her colleagues at the Institute. What I thought was interesting was showing a new perspective on Alexandra, because in the Talos Principle 1, you hear these time capsules from her, which are very considered, very polished. Like, this is what she left behind on purpose to be heard by the future humans. And in the Talos Principle 2, you kind of see an archaeological, historical perspective on her, like what other people make of her after she's dead. So we thought we'll get in really close and just show Alexandra Drennan how she behaves at work, how she interacts with Proto-Elohim, how she interacts with her colleagues. Because it was also very interesting to us to showcase the other people at the Institute, to show that tasks like this are never achieved alone. Like, it takes a village. So I pitched this. Luckily, Davor and Jonas both liked the idea, and Tom Joubert was not available because he was working on something else. Otherwise, we would have included him.
There's always been a kind of darkness in the story of Alexandra Drennan, not the kind of darkness you get in a lot of storytelling these days where people are just bad. Alexandra Drennan is a fundamentally good person who is trying to do something important and necessary, and yet that necessity pushes her into something that's very harsh. She recreates evolution, essentially, and that means she recreates all of its horrors. And she creates this entity, an Elohim, who is going to suffer and go through something terrible on behalf of humanity.
This is what I said in the base game. I am so happy that they thought of this and they're talking about it.
Of course, it ends well in the end, but still, it is an ugly thing that she's forced to do. And for some of the minds that are going to exist inside the simulation, it's a kind of awful torture and an awful experience that leads nowhere for them individually. And here and in the beginning, we see that she has a sense of that, of the weight of that. Her interactions with the integration manager have a weight because she understands that she's asking a lot of him, and he's not really fully a functional person yet. Like, you can tell by the way that he asks her questions that there is something there, but it also doesn't really have the capacity to express itself fully, and also, as far as they know, it doesn't have the capacity to really grow. That's also mentioned in Talos 1. So they think that, okay, we're using this thing and it's not great, but it's also not really fully a person. She does, however, treat him as a person, which I think says a lot about her as well. And what she doesn't know is, of course, that eventually he will become a person, and then, in another way, a part of a person. And perhaps part of how that happened, part of how the integration manager became Elohim and then became human, is that he overheard these discussions, and he had these conversations, and he asked these questions of Alexandra Drennan, and she answered him in a way that nobody else ever had. She was vulnerable and truthful, and she told him things that no one else would ever say, like that she's afraid. And maybe that made him afraid too. Maybe that broke him a little bit, but maybe through that, through the fact that he was broken, he became more human. All the characters that we see here are struggling. All of them are broken in some way, and maybe they conferred some of their brokenness to the integration manager who was observing them and trying to understand. They made him insecure, they made him consider his mortality, and through that gave him a path towards humanity, and maybe in some ways that's one of the reasons that the project even worked. I am reminded of an old Leonard Cohen lyric, there is a crack in everything, that's how the light gets in. I was interested in this concept that Verena pitched because I found it fascinating to look at the life of Alexandra Drennan through a different lens. So we've seen her in one way through her audio logs in the first game, then we've seen her mythologized in Gehenna and then also in Talos 2, and we've also seen her through the eyes of Trevor in Talos 2. I mean, unless you haven't played Talos 2, but still, those are all the various different perspectives of Alexandra Drennan that we've had. And in the beginning, we get to see a day in the life. We get to see the rough moments. We get to see her speak in a less eloquent way as she searches for words, because she's just talking. She's not leaving behind a legacy for the future. She's just being herself and trying to deal with the situations that come up. And we see her being a leader, and we see that being a leader often means absorbing psychic damage on behalf of everyone, as her, let's say, daughter Athena is going to do one day. And that's rough, and you know, she has her own fears and she has her own internal struggles, and she can't really show them to people that much because that's her job, and that's okay, because that's what we have to do sometimes. Sometimes you have to step up and get over yourself, and even when it's tragic, even when it's horrible, for the sake of other people, for the sake of humanity, you have to do this. And that's what she does. She takes all the weight in the world and puts it on her shoulders and keeps going for as far as she can, and she gets remarkably far in the end. We also see a lot of humor. We see characters joking, and I understand that people sometimes get irritated when Hollywood inserts a lot of unnecessary jokes into things that frankly don't need them. But in this situation, I think it's an essential part of the story, because humor is how we deal with stuff. In real-world tragedies, people make jokes. When people are dying, when people are miserable, they make jokes, bleak jokes, but still jokes, because it helps us. It helps us stay human in these situations. And to me, it feels entirely natural that these people at the Institute would make lots of jokes. We saw some of that in Talos 1, and we see more of it here, that, yeah, they're joking and they're behaving in a kind of weirdly upbeat way at times, and others are not, because they're not handling it as well. But still, this is a human coping mechanism for dealing with a seemingly meaningless universe that is definitely trying to kill you.
I love these people. I love what they've given us. Alright, I'm gonna do what I usually do. Go clockwise. Cool. Since this time we started in the tower, I guess that means we'll go to the proto-land of faith first.
Looks like the levels are loading correctly.
Thanks, Alexandra. It's certainly taken a minute, though. I mean, I still think of my computer as high-end, but the truth is, I built it 5 years ago now. Everything was bleeding edge when I built it, but 5 years is a long time, so... Okay, well... So we got puzzles. I'm gonna start here. Comment, this level. What are we training here, robots or wizards? Philip Altman and Ian. Shut up, Philip. Bob Rakowski and Ian. Come on, it's just a little joke. Philip Altman and Ian. He is right. Shut up, Philip. Arkady Chernyshevsky at Archive. Oh, what, because it looks like Hogwarts? Alright, anything else close to me, lore-wise? See what this pip is, and then I'll try to solve a puzzle. Comment, spaces for contemplation. We should encourage the integration manager to create more spots like this one, where someone could just linger for a while and look out at the sea. Our descendants will have a lot to think about. Not just Sarabai at Ian. Blocked. Of course, it's blocked. Okay. That's not quite it. Yes, it has been 5 years since the COVID lockdowns when I built this computer. It's pretty insane to think about, isn't it? I can detach this fan, but I do not see where that accomplishes anything. Right? Because there are no pressure plates in here. Okay, hold on. I think I'm onto something here. Yeah, that's it. And then that little time delay is to give me enough of a window to move the jammer to the other fan. It's gotta be. Alright. Gotta be standing right next to it. But I can reach it. Alright, and that has blown the other connector out. Boom, baby! Huzzah!
Child program has completed puzzle and collected token.
And we got an achievement.
Input required.
Oh.
To improve the role-playing experience, please describe the player's objective.
Ha!
To become human.
What does it mean to be human?
I see we're starting with the easy questions. I don't think humanity is something that can be found in a single property. It's an emergent phenomenon that requires multiple criteria to be met, some of which may seem contradictory.
What is my role in the creation of humanity?
You can't just create a new humanity out of thin air, and unfortunately, neither can we. So, we have to work together to create the conditions that will allow humanity to emerge. My team will begin the process, and you will complete it after we're, gone.
Calibrating.
Alright, so the achievement was, it's working. Solve one puzzle and in the beginning. Let's go ahead and do the big Hogwarts castle. There's another pip out there if I can figure out how to get to it. Star! They show it to you right away. Those are usually the ones that are insanely hard to get. Castle. Okay. Non-detachable fan. Detachable fan. Just gotta explore the puzzle and see what we got. What's up here? Okay, so that's the puzzle. So I gotta get blue and red lasers into here. That's the end. And so now I gotta get over there. 2 lasers here will unlock a box. And so to explore those rooms, I should use the detachable fan. Blue source. Red gate with a box behind it. Red source. Blue gate with some funky shit behind it. A connector that's behind, I think, a purple floor and another energy gate right there. So that holds that gate open. I don't think that does anything for me at the moment. About that. Well, that's another detachable fan. It sends me into here. A running fan. But I need to get a fan in here before I can do anything with it. Alright. I traded a fan for a connector, so now I got 2 connectors. Which will allow me to free this box. Yeah, I need to get a red in here. are gonna block each other, so... That's interesting. It occurs to me I will definitely need to have a fan out here, but that's obviously why this one is detachable. So I need to get both of those in the air, because that's how they're going to steadily power both of the final lasers. Okay. And a third connector is involved somehow. Oh, this is a drop. The connector's gonna fall. So I can use my body on the other pressure plate. That's how we do this. Now that connector should be on the ground. Good. Okay. Still need them open, don't I? Yes. I got 3 connectors in a box. I gotta get the second box. That is what's next. And it needs to... it needs to persistently hold. Okay, that was actually pretty easy. Well, hold on. was hoping that would stick, but it's not. Gotta knock it down. Well, it's possible I can hit the red if I set that one up first. I can't tell just looking at it, so I'll just have to try it. So you, and you. Then I gotta launch you. Yeah, no dice. Okay. Oh no, come on now. You have to try and grab it. Oh wow. The connector stayed even without the box. Okay, so launching is not the way to get the second box. What is? I can still use this fan to hold a gate open. And that means I actually can go ahead and launch blue. That won't do anything, but I can do that, and that, and that, and then place it. Then use the third connector to launch it. How silly of me. What I meant was use the third connector to launch it. And now it's in the air and gonna stay there. So with the fan, I can open that, and then using the connector that's in the air, I can do that. And now with my second box, red, red, red. Launch it. And that should solve the puzzle. Oh ho ho! Look at me go.
The child program has completed puzzle and collected token.
Alright.
Hi, it's Other Alex. Sorry to interrupt, but have you heard anything at all from O'Brien? He said he'd get in touch when he got to the lab in Portland?
No, nothing. I'm sorry.
Okay, I guess I guess the whole network is still down over there. You don't think he's
No, That would be too soon.
Then it's, probably just crappy infrastructure. So, what do I do?
Focus on your other tasks. One thing at a time, okay? You're doing well.
Okay. Thanks, boss.
Now go get some sleep.
Alright. Alexander Al-Farabi. New character. And now, it almost feels too obvious, but I think the thing to do to get the star is just launch myself up on one of the boxes, right? Is it that easy? It is that easy.
Input required. What is the thematic value of optional gameplay content?
You're the one who created this configuration. What does it mean to you when a child program pursues these stars?
Dedication. It indicates that the child program is extraordinarily dedicated to the process.
Damn right.
And what does that mean in the context of their final test?
Calibrating.
And then I think if I want to see that other pip, I need to launch myself out the other side, right? Certainly seems that way. So they would, if there are only 3 stars, they would not put one in. They would not put 2 in the same puzzle, right? Surely not. Comment: trapped? What happens if a child program decides this spot looks cozy and manages to get here somehow and becomes trapped? Ivan Andrich and Ian. The integration manager will have to deal with that. We can't predict every possible scenario. Some of the child programs will end up doing stupid things we never even conceived of, just like real people. Bob Rakowski and Ian. Well, thank you. I feel attacked now.
Child program is out.
Okay, so do I have to rewind all the way? Or I probably have to reset, huh? That was pretty funny. Good job calling me out, Crow Team. Well, so far this isn't that bad, knock on wood. Clever puzzles that I would say are quite hard, but not, like, unsolvably hard. Aha! Comment. The tower. Ending. Now shall I make my soul, compelling it to study in a learned school, till the wreck of body, slow decay of blood, testy delirium or dull decrepitude, or what worse evil come, the death of friends or death of every brilliant eye that made a catch in the breath, seem but the clouds of the sky when the horizon fades, or a bird's sleepy cry among the deepening shades. W.B. Yeats, J.E. Harrison at Ian. This puzzle's over there, but there's another actual path leading down to this beach. Comment, why do the houses stand? Why do the houses stand when they that built them are gone? When remaineth even of one that lived there and loved and planned, not a face, not an eye, not a hand, only here and there a bone. Why do the houses stand when they who built them are gone? Oft in the moonlighted land, when the day is overblown, with happy memorial moan sweet ghosts in a loving band, roam through the houses that stand, for the builders are not gone. George MacDonald, J.E. Harrison at Ian.
All right, is there anything else?
I think the simulation should have music.
Music?
Yes, you said to me their experience will be almost like a dream, like a story.
Yeah, I hope so.
And then you could say that their experience will be like interactive art, like a game. And that means it needs a soundtrack. After all, music is a very big part of our legacy. We've been making music as long as we've been human, maybe even longer.
You're right. We said the simulation should be beautiful, and music is the purest form of beauty we have. Do you have any suggestions? I don't think we need to worry about copyright. Nobody's gonna sue us.
Well, in the archive, I have the complete works of Damian Mravunac. He was a great composer and a very good friend of mine. I think it would be beautiful if his music became part of their dreams.
Why is it still loading these files?
Okay, so we got an achievement. Happy accidents. Find a recording and in the beginning. And that was Damian's voice. Damian is the canon voice of Arkady Chernyshevsky. I really like that. Oh, that's a whole nother puzzle. Okay. Going too far. Alternate pathing. Let's go back and solve that one first. There's plenty more to explore around it, which I will, of course, do. I'm wondering if it's just one star in each of the 3 hub worlds. That would make sense.
I see someone's been putting in Easter eggs.
Input required. The child program has strayed from the main puzzle area, but there are no gameplay rewards in this region. Should this behavior be discouraged?
No, not at all. Exploration isn't about rewards. It's about curiosity.
But what should I place in such areas when I create a world?
Something surprising, something beautiful, or maybe something funny? You have a lot of data to draw on. Use your imagination, and you know what? If there's nothing, that's fine too. Like I said, it's not about rewards.
Calibrating.
I love the level of detail they put into this. Bug, stretched textures, priority low, status to do. It's all stretchy. Philip, Altman, and Ian. We can count ourselves lucky if we manage to fix any of the cosmetic stuff. What matters is making the simulation itself work. Setting priority to low. Bob Rakowski and Ian. Alright, Sharon's calling me, so we'll see if we can solve one more puzzle and then we'll cut the stream. For today, Reason's Retreat. Oh no, that's interesting. Okay. I can turn this fan on, which lets me get up here to a pressure plate. Alright. Maybe put it at the far end for now. But I still don't even have it open, do I? So, it's not like it does me any good. What's over here? Got a blue. But no matter what I do, I can't. That's too far back to target. Has to be something else to this that I didn't see. Oh, there's a blue. Okay, okay. That will undoubtedly open the gate. And then... that opens this, but just that. I need it to connect and disconnect. Right? Insufficient. I need to get it where the lasers... No, because the lasers don't do it. I think I need the connector itself to block the source at some point. Can't have it get caught on the edge. There we go. Come on, get it! Alright. Now I have 3 connectors. Now what is back here? Gotta admit, I still can't tell. I wonder if that did anything out here. Yes. Now I just need to find a way to also get blue